54. You can discover macarons like you've never tasted before in Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons today, conveniently located off Highway 169. They're perfect for unique gifts, corporate events, or just for yourself. Stop in and order at nicolettesmacarons.com. That's nicolettesmacarons.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPTA 20, Chicago's Progressive Talk, and also now airing weekly on News Talk, WHMP Northampton, Amherst in Massachusetts, Pioneer Valley. Welcome to The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ news and talk show on the radio in the United States. I'm your host, John Parker, in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
Big show today. We're going to jump right into it. At the bottom of the hour, Tammy Nash, managing editor of the Dallas Voice, joins us to break down the big primaries that are happening in Texas today. She's going to give us a view from the ground in Dallas. We've also been tracking Kristi Noem's testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee about Operation Metro Surge. Yikes. We'll get into it later in the show. But up first, I cannot tell you how happy I am to welcome our first guest, Daniel Nichanian. Daniel is the founder and editor-in-chief of Bolts Magazine, a digital nonprofit publication that covers the nuts and bolts of power and political change. Folks, if you remember, I was raving about the election guide last year for the November elections. We've also hosted journalists from Bolts, Adam Rhodes last fall. This upcoming Tuesday, we're going to have Alex Burness with a wild story about American Samoans and their voting rights. But right now, Daniel joins us, and on a personal note, as an Armenian American and as a French Armenian American, I guess I'm very happy to welcome you, Daniel, to The Gailey Show.
It's so much fun to join you.
Okay, so your guide, the 75 elections to watch in March, available right now on the homepage of boltsmag.org. Can we start with today, your sort of high-level view of what you're looking at in terms of races, and what are you expecting to see?
Right. This is really the first midterm. This is the start of the elections for the midterms. This is the first states that are holding their primaries to set up the showdowns in November, in Texas, in Arkansas, in North Carolina. So that's really where we're starting. It's a long time away still to November, but it's never too early to start, I guess. So really the most important things to watch, I think the things that are going to get the most attention, the most headlines that people may have already heard of, are the congressional primaries, starting with the Senate race in Texas. On both sides, both major parties have very heated primaries. I hear that you're going to have a guest from Texas in 20 minutes. So I'll leave that to them, because there's so much to look at under the hood when you look down ballot, county commission, school board, DA races, sheriff races, state lawmakers, and so on. And, maybe one easy place to look at is just thinking about immigration, ICE enforcement, which in Minneapolis and everywhere around the country has been on everyone's mind, because we often think of Trump and the White House having control of that, how much they deploy the federal agents and so on. But really, it's really important who has power at the local level, and we're seeing that in the elections today. So just as a couple of examples on that issue. One of the most interesting primaries I'm watching today is happening in North Carolina, where Republicans last year passed a law that forced sheriffs to comply with ICE. There were a lot of sheriffs in North Carolina who were elected on ICE skeptical platforms who had promised to scale back collaboration with ICE. And Republicans last year said, no, we're going to force sheriffs to comply with ICE orders. And a Democratic lawmaker provided the vote that put that bill over the edge in North Carolina. On their own, Republicans did not have the votes to override the veto of the governor there. And one Democrat crossed over and voted in favor of that bill. And today she faces a primary from a pastor a progressive pastor who's been endorsed by the Democratic governor in North Carolina and by other progressive groups. So that's just an example of how a very small state house primary can actually have a very important implications for state law and for immigration enforcement. One other example like that, there's a sheriff in North Carolina, in Alamance County, who's been in power for so long. Already under the Obama era, the DOJ had a whole investigation into his practices of racial profiling around immigration enforcement. He's facing a Republican primary today. It's the first time in a while he's in danger. So that's a place where, again, if you care about immigration, if you care about ICE, those are the places to be watching today.
I learned about Representative Carla Cunningham from your reporting, and the idea that she would say cultures are not all equal. And other really horrifying things was just, has there been any polling about that race? Do you think is she going to retain the nomination? Do you think
that's a great question. If you care about stuff at the very local level, you just have to learn to go into election days without any polling or indication of what's actually going on. We barely see reliable polls for the top level elections. For a state house election or for a sheriff race, you are pretty much going in blind into election day. So no, I don't know what's going on there.
So there was another race that you are watching, which is a Democrats could flip a seat in Arkansas. I can't remember if this is happening today or this month.
It is happening today, yes.
Okay.
So there's that one is interesting. So there's a state house seat in Arkansas. So that actually is not a primary. It's a special election happening for a state house seat in the state of Arkansas. It's a rare seat that is held by the GOP, but that voted against Trump in 2024. So for Harris in the presidential election. So it's an obvious opportunity for Democrats to gain a seat. Just to zoom out for a moment, that race is important, not just in Arkansas, because no matter what happens, the GOP will keep control of the state house there. But Democrats have flipped a lot of seats now since the 2024 presidential election all around the country. I actually ran numbers last year and found out that Democrats had flipped 21% of all Republican-held seats that were on the ballot for state house and state senate in 2025, and they've already flipped a new one in 2026 in Texas a couple of months ago in January, and now they have another shot today in Arkansas to continue that momentum and ensure that they have the momentum, obviously, going into November, which is going to be the test all around. So that's one to watch in Arkansas today. That's the main flip possibility today in what overall is more of a primary Democratic and inter-Republican election night.
But this isn't the only flip opportunity this month for Democrats. There are a few other races that are happening where they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, so the one today in Arkansas is I believe the only seat that is Republican held that voted for Harris in 24. So that's really the golden one. But there's the primary calendar, the election calendar only continues every Tuesday is an election day, even maybe sometimes Thursdays or Saturdays. And over the next 2 weeks, there are elections in New Hampshire, in Louisiana on a Saturday, and then Florida at the end of the month has very interesting, has a trio of state house and Senate seats that are all Republican leaning, but are definitely within the realm of the kinds of seats Democrats have managed to put in play. What's interesting about Florida to me, and maybe has more implications at the national level, is that the Republicans in Florida are considering redrawing the map of the congressional seats in Florida this spring. They're hoping to redraw the map and gain up to 4 or 5 congressional seats in Florida, which would be extremely important in November if that happens. If Democrats score upsets in the state house elections in March, obviously that's not directly related to the congressional seats, but it could spook the GOP a little when it comes time to redraw the maps, because they might start getting spooked about just how aggressive they can be, because they could stretch it could stretch thin their own seats, their own incumbents. So they haven't yet paused on the plans to redraw the map in Florida, but there's a connection there to pay attention to. The Florida elections are on the 24th of March, so it's still in a few weeks.
Got it. We are talking with the editor-in-chief of Bolts Magazine, Daniel Nichanian, about their guide available on their homepage, boltsmag.org, the 75 election races that you should be watching this month. There is a interesting race for the Supreme Court in Arkansas where the appointee, Governor Huckabee's appointee to the court, is using some weird loophole to run. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, it's a bit of a complicated situation that, it starts with this idea that the state of Arkansas has a very interesting clause in its state constitution that was approved in the 30s, I believe, that says that if the governor appoints someone to a position, whether it's on the state Supreme Court or, if the governor appoints someone as AG or a position, the official cannot seek a full term for the seat. The idea is, it's a rare provision, but it's one that voters endorsed in Arkansas, and it's true to the spirit of how the state has decided to design its election system, is that the governor shouldn't have too much influence on other branches of government, where if it's courts or on other offices, to sort of limit the idea that an incumbent will just stay in office once they're appointed. So what's happening on the state court right now, on the state Supreme Court, is that the governor there, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who a lot of people know nationally from her role during Trump's first presidency in the White House, appointed 2 judges on the state Supreme Court, and they're not allowed to seek a full term to their own seat. So what they're doing is that they have filed for re-election for each other's seat, because technically they can do that. So Justice Brony, who's the one facing a challenge today, is running for the other seat because he couldn't run for his own, and vice versa. It is not an illegal thing to do, but you could see how it could stretch the spirit of the constitutional provision. And I think what's interesting, beyond the machinations or the horse race aspect here, is that that state Supreme Court has really shifted to the right a lot just over the past few years. At the beginning of the 2020s, conservatives were very upset at this court on how it was ruling on abortion, on the death penalty, and other conservative priorities. And just in the course of a few years, through a combination of factors, including the death of a moderate justice and these appointments by the governor, the court has really, really anchored itself to the right, including they rejected a constitutional amendment to protect abortion rights a couple of years ago. So you can see how these sort of things that can seem like light games or things to be amused by maybe actually are very important for who controls state courts and very important issues.
Our time is up already, but Daniel, I will be following you tonight on Blue Sky. Will you be posting on other platforms about election results?
Yes, well, I think anyone can find me easily on Blue Sky, but I would also invite everyone to go to boltsmag.org, because we will update our guide we're talking about with the results as they come in. So, there's a lot of elections happening tonight, and it's very hard to keep track of everything. So you can find all of that on our website.
Thank you, Daniel. You all find me there on Blue Sky. All right, folks, quick break. More after this.
Awesome.
Are you tired of hearing how white European men discovered everything? Then 10,000 Things Theater's production of Men on Boats by Jacqueline Backhouse is for you. It features a cast of the people the first expedition to the Grand Canyon in 1869 left out, running February 19th through March 15th at 4 different locations, starting with Open Book in Minneapolis. Contact 10,000things.org. That's 10,000things.org.
When it comes to nutritional supplements, it can be hard to know what to trust. Announcing whattotrust.com. Whattotrust.com is a free app developed by Canamix, a Rochester, Minnesota company founded by scientists and clinicians from Harvard Medical School to help people make informed choices. It's time to stop guessing what scientifically proven means and start knowing what to trust. Go to whattotrust.com, enter product's name, and get science-based What to Trust scores. Companies do not pay to be listed on What to Trust. Whattotrust.com.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM 950 trusts for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM 950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities Metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T. I'm a proud supporter of AM 950 because this station shares the values that I care about most: community, connection, and making a difference. Just like AM 950, I believe in using our energies, our resources, and our voices to lift up others. That's why I started the Mary T. Scholar Program at the University of Minnesota College of Education and Human Development, providing graduate students with internships internationally. For over the past 10 years, our students have served communities in Laos, Cambodia, Nepal, India, Cameroon, and Thailand, gaining experience and helping people in ways that really make a difference. Supporting AM 950 fosters conversation, awareness, and action in our communities. It's about shared values and believing that together we can make a difference. Visit marytinc.com to learn more about the work that we do.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds. Happy to learn that I can give away some another pair of tickets to Men on Boats at 10,000 Things. This is a audience choice of when you want to go, of the remaining dates available. Oh, am I wrong about that?
We've simplified it a little bit to this weekend.
Oh, okay.
They're in two places, Thursday and Friday night. They're at Hennepin Avenue Church. And then for Saturday and Sunday, they're at the Capri Theater in Northeast. So you do have a choice of two places and 4 different performances, but it'll be this weekend. I think that's easier.
Okay. Well, there you go. 952-946-6205 for our folks and listeners, viewers in Minneapolis. 952-946-6205 for a free pair of tickets to Men on Boats produced by 10,000 Things. Audience choice of when to go this weekend. So first caller, 952-946-6205. Just want to remind folks the link to the website to see the races from boltsmag.org. Head there. The article title is The 75 Elections to Watch This March. Really easy, simple guide to break down. Things are listed out by federal races, state races, local government races. Really nice little paragraphs to tell you like what you need to know and what the results will then be and when those results will be available. Like we're looking here at the North Carolina GOP primary, which is today. They'll have the results later tonight or in the morning, depending on how that primary goes. So really grateful to Daniel for joining us here today. All right. Sorry, I'm pulling up my notes here about Kristi Noem. Ooh, so Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem was testifying today in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And here's some standout moments for me was when Republican Senator Tom Tillis really went at Secretary Noem. Really went at. He said that she was a disaster. Quote, "What we've seen is a disaster under your leadership. What we've seen is innocent people getting detained that turn out are American citizens. Regarding Operation Metro Surge, Senator Tillis asked, why can't we just say we made a mistake? We're beginning to get the American people to think that deporting people is wrong, he added. It's the exact opposite. The way you're going about deporting them is wrong. That was Senator Tillis during his time grilling DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem. Also said Senator Tillis that when there is an investigation into the deaths of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, he's predicting that we'll find out that should not have happened. Also interesting, not interesting, I mean just on par, the cruelty, where multiple times from multiple senators, she was asked if she would apologize for calling Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good domestic terrorists, and if she would apologize to the families, and she said no.
I mean, if you believe in hell.
Yeah. So at one point she was asked, do you want to apologize? They were saying, I understand. So a Democratic Senator, Welch, I understand you're offering condolences. You said something that accused them of being domestic terrorists. Do you want to apologize for that characterization that they were domestic terrorists? In response, she said, I will continue every day to get up and to work hard to give everybody factual information.
Never one day in her life.
So that was an exchange with Democratic Senator Peter Welch. And that was multiple times that they came, the Democratic senators came after her about her characterization of Alex Preddy. At one point, when she was sparring with Minnesota senior senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, she said, I did not call Preddy a domestic terrorist. I said it appeared to be an incident of domestic terrorism.
Wow.
So Klobuchar tried to get her to respond to when they, ICE, arrested a grandfather from his home, pulling him out of there in just his boxers and Crocs, and put him into a car and drove him around for an hour before realizing, oh, actually he is an American citizen. Senator Klobuchar said, asked, do you agree that it is unacceptable for your agents to ram into someone's door and drag someone out in their underwear and below zero temperatures when they have the wrong guy? But Noem just continued to defend their actions and said, yep, no, this is good. Everything they did was above board. Claims, and this, I don't even know. Okay. The DHS has lied so consistently to local media here and to national media that
Yes.
I'm not going to quote the number, which feels weird. But she did say there was X number of agents still in Minnesota. Less than 1,000 based off of her claims. But Senator Klobuchar asked, okay, well, when are you going to go back down to the original 150 before Operation Metro Surge? But Kristi Noem continued this idea that ICE agents are remaining to investigate social services fraud.
Which is
But
not their job.
they're getting 47 days of training, and I don't see anywhere when I look at the whistleblower who came forward to testify in a forum by Democratic representatives and senators last week, there was nothing in there about investigating fraud.
Right. That's not their job.
So, there are, and hundreds of agents still in Minnesota, at least.
I'll give you a
And
number.
apparently yes, Jim.
1,130.
Now, where are you getting that number?
That's the 980 that she's claiming is below 1,000, plus the 150 that's always been in addition to the 150 that are always here. There are 1,130 DHS agents here. Kristi.
Well, she claims, if you're going to give that number, she claims 650.
Okay, she's a liar.
Well, that's the thing is that until it's independently verified,
But see
what do
how
we
it-
do with these numbers? Because they're constantly giving us misinformation.
You
and
don't
so
trust them. You get a number from someone else and you listen and pay attention
it's
and
really
put
hard
one and one together and come up with an answer.
as a news and talk show when you want to sit here and report out, hey, this was happening. And all you can do is say, well, the government said this, but this hasn't been independently verified. So
I wouldn't quote the government. I truly do not think the national government, I mean, I'm generalizing here only a little bit. I don't think the national government is the
Trump
source
administration.
of factual. Yeah. Okay, if you will. Sure. I think how many times do you need to be lied to by a friend before you go, I don't think I trust you anymore? So I think it's fine to not trust the federal government. They've earned that lack of trust.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. We are going to take a break here. When we come back, Tammy Nash from the Dallas Voice to break down today's elections.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
Step into Forts, a fort-building wonderland at Children's Theater Company through April 5th. Theatrical elements, evolving light and soundscapes, and towers of cardboard boxes set the scene for creative play. Build the tallest fort, the longest fort, or tons of cozy little forts. Design a castle or a neighborhood. Your imagination leads the way as you play freely and create shared stories together in real life. Forts at CTC through April 5th. Spring break weekdays available. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hey, Chanhassen in Eden Prairie, it's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why wake up early, freeze, and shovel snow when I can handle it for you? I provide fast, reliable snow removal so your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and stress-free all winter long. Relax, enjoy your morning coffee, and let me do the heavy lifting. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today and make this winter easier, warmer, and worry-free with Buzz Cut Mowing, because nobody likes shoveling snow.
Hearts and beliefs collide in the poignant comedy, The Cake, playing at Theater in the Round. Della is a talented Southern baker whose life changes when she's asked to create a wedding cake for her late best friend's daughter, who's marrying a woman. The production offers a tender and funny look at the complex intersection of faith and family. The Cake runs February 20th through March 15th at Theater in the Round. Tickets and more information at theaterintheround.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 49. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 35. And Wednesday, sunny with a high near 54. Dinosaur World is taking over Children's Theater Company for an immersive tour where you can feel the roar. Get ready to face off against a massive T-Rex and see what it feels like to get sneezed on by a Triceratops at Dinosaur World. Dinosaur World runs through April 5th, and you can find tickets and more info at childrenstheater.org.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, and now also airing weekly on Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. on News Talk, WHMP, in Massachusetts, Pioneer Valley. Welcome back to The Gailey Show. It is 33 minutes after the hour. In studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds. And I'm just getting word here that we haven't given away those tickets yet to Men on Boats for 10,000 things. So a pair of free tickets. I want to give those away. So if you're in Minneapolis, going to be in the Minneapolis area, the Twin Cities, these are a pair of free tickets for this weekend. 952-946-6205, your choice of which performance to go to this weekend. 952-946-6205.
Let me give folks a little more information here. I want to outline the performance dates so that you're clear. Thursday night at 7:30, Hennepin United Methodist Church. Friday night, 7:30, Hennepin United Methodist Church. Saturday and Sunday, there's a Saturday 2 p.m., a Saturday 7:30 p.m., and a Sunday 2 p.m. So there's actually 5 performances, and those last 3 are all at the Capri. So Northeast Minneapolis or right there on Loring Park are your choices. Let me read this description. I've seen the play, but sometimes reading something pre-thought out is clearer. It's an irreverent retelling of an expedition on the Colorado River in the 19th century by white European men, but none of the parts are played by white European men. And having experienced it, there are Native American folks, there are lots of white straight men, but there's none of that to be seen. And those words and the sort of hubris and the desperation they ran into and how they needed to be helped by the Native Americans who lived there is so telling and so even emotional, coming out of the mouths of people that were not in this glorified story of exploration, that turned into a series of desperations. So it's a great, honest look at history, which we often don't get. So I recommend it both intellectually, for entertainment value, for historic value, for learning. I think it's a really extraordinary production on 10,000 Things Part.
952-946-6205. First caller gets a pair of free tickets to Men on Boats. Your choice of which performance you're going to go see this weekend. I feel like we're having a scheduling issue. I think that Tammy is dealing with a lot of news happening right now in Texas, as you can imagine. So not going to be able to join us, which is a bummer, but I understand news happens. So maybe we'll get her to join us before the top of the hour, but we can get into Jim. Yes.
Well, I had a thought. I'm thinking of this 3 states now that we're in, and how lucky we are to be in Massachusetts and Minnesota and Illinois, compared to the people having elections today. If you're a good person in Texas or in North Carolina or Arkansas, where my father's family is from, you are climbing an enormous mountain just to try to have a democracy. So all of a sudden my heart went out to how hard that is. So go vote.
Yes, obviously. Get out and vote. I wish I had the times of when polls were closing. But in Texas, we can't take a look at that race. So there are 3 Republicans who are vying for the GOP nomination. Now, this is an interesting situation where there will be a runoff if a candidate doesn't get to 50% or 50% plus 1 of the vote. So with 3 candidates, you're looking like, okay, so right now there's the incumbent Senator John Cornyn, who considered an establishment Republican, has been known to frustrate, I guess, or like buck the ultra conservatives, if you will, as it's characterized here on Bolts Magazine's guide. So he is being challenged by Ken Paxton, who is
See what I'm talking about? Think about that.
Attorney General who was investigated. I remember when Tammy was here a few months ago, she was telling us a story about how they came to his house to serve a subpoena, and he ran out the back door, got into his truck and drove away.
There's Ken Paxton.
Ken Paxton also issued a memoranda yesterday, obviously trying to get votes, where he essentially criminalized giving trans health care. So any provider doing so, and another like bounty situation where if you know of a provider doing that, to call his office and they will go in and investigate him. So they're still trying to run on a anti-trans platform, a lot of these far right MAGA candidates. So he's the second one in the race. And then there is the U.S. Representative Wesley Hunt, also in the race. And so I think folks are thinking right now it's between Cornyn and Paxton. But with Hunt there, does that keep either one of them from getting to 50% of the vote? Probably. Which means then that the two have to then, whoever the two are, have to continue to spend money and campaign against each other until the primary in, I believe it's May.
So the polls close at 7:00
in Texas.
As you were talking about the lunacy in Texas, I was thinking, boy, if we would be stupid enough to elect Mattress Man in this state, that's the kind of cartoon crap that we would be dealing with.
Mattress Man?
Yeah. I can't say his name. It's gross. So I'll just say Mattress Man. And that's what we have.
The pillow guy, you mean?
Or Pillow Man, whatever. Who knows? He's not a serious person.
No, but he's running for the GOP primary.
It's cartoon mania. It's like Saturday morning television come to politics for some reason. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But we've been avoiding that, except Jesse Ventura, I'm sorry, was a cartoon also. But we've avoided that for the most part, and we got to do our own part in November.
Well, we what was her face? And we've got Fishbach right now, and
there's some
District
terrible.
8, but there was, what was her name?
Michelle Fishman. No, Fleischman. Michelle
Bachmann. Whoever thought that we'd actually forget what her name was? That's fantastic. That's progress. That we forgot Michelle Bachmann's last name.
I hope her neighbors are gay.
Yeah, we've had some doozies. Let's be honest. We've had some doozies.
I know.
From Minnesota.
But I'm talking about in the governorship. We've managed it. We've had some terrible governors. Tim, what's his name, is a terrible. So we've had terrible governors. We've even had a decent Republican governor, but these people are at a whole different. Yeah, Arnie. But these people in these states are dealing with a whole different level of mental problems.
Yeah. Also, obviously happening in Texas today is the Democratic primary. This is between State Representative James Tallarico and current U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett. Representative Crockett's district, because of the gerrymandering that just happened in Texas, which the Supreme Court said, yes, go ahead and do. Representative Crockett's district no longer exists. So she announced that she was running for Senate. I think in the polling, we should expect to see her win tonight, but
I'd be stunned if she didn't. Do you think she might not? I would be,
for the Trump administration to be getting into like leaning in on the Stephen Colbert show to get him to not run an interview with Tallarico, Representative Tallarico.
Yes.
That lends me to believe there may be some polling that suggests that
that's a good point.
State Representative Tallarico might win tonight and that he would be the stronger candidate against whomever it ends up being, Paxton, Cornyn, or Hunt. However, there's been other polling that suggests that, Representative Crockett is the only one that could beat all three of the Republican candidates, whoever ends up getting the nomination on the Republican side today. So,
and then we have the Democratic racism problem and the Democratic misogyny problem.
Well, yeah, there's,
there's
that.
We've seen enough of that, haven't we?
There's that. But when we see that special election that Daniel was mentioning earlier,
yes,
where it was a double-digit flip in a special election in Texas. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility in 2026 that we could see a Senate seat flip in Texas. Now I feel like Texas and Florida always seem to be these Democratic, whales are like, oh, this year is the year that Texas is going to turn blue, and it's Florida. Florida's going to turn blue, and then it ends up going even more red than it was before the election. Yeah. So I don't know. Ken Paxton though is a deeply polarizing
yes.
candidate. And if we continue to see the what happens with the fallout from the Iran war and how that goes, the Epstein files are not going away. The tariffs, they were declared illegal by the Supreme Court, but he's obviously going to continue to do more of those. So, there's still a lot of time for all of this policy stuff and the implications of it. By the way, they still haven't brought back the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act.
Right. How's that going for
Right.
everyone?
So health insurance is still way high for folks that used to be on the ACA. They're either paying more in premiums. Most of them, though, are dropping out of it, which is basically becoming, if we're looking at analysts that are looking at the numbers of how fewer people are on there, they're essentially bleeding out the Affordable Care Act right now. By getting people by making it so expensive that people aren't joining it.
Right.
They're creating a situation where it cannot hold.
Right.
So this is their way of getting rid of the Affordable Care Act.
And that means millions won't be insured, and that means millions will go bankrupt, and it will cause a burden for all the rest of us.
Well, apparently
what a
also
what a
they
policy.
are, if I recall, either the State of the Union or a recent speech where Trump's like, we're not even going to have health insurance anymore. We're just going to give you money and you decide how to spend it. Now, this comes out of Florida Senator Rick Scott's plan, which is to get rid of insurance and then just give you what they're calling like a Trump check or something like that. But the question is, if you have your appendix that tries to kill you, that surgery, when your appendix, an appendectomy, when that happens, that costs $25,000, or at least it did when I had my appendectomy. So, and that was a few years ago. Now that was like 11 years ago.
Much more
or 10.5 years ago. So it's probably more than $25,000 right now. Is Trump going to give you a $25,000 check
to
cover
He's going to give
your
you
appendectomy?
$1,000 check.
So
and then you're going to go bankrupt.
Their plan doesn't make any sense. But that's the point. They don't want to have a plan. They don't want to have the government involved in health insurance. They want the health insurance companies to be able to charge you whatever they want to charge you. They want the health insurance companies to decide what they're going to cover for you and what they're not going to cover for you. They want to make it the Wild West. And so you try to buy a health insurance plan and it's going to be ridiculous. High deductibles. They're not going to cover everything that you needed to cover. They're not going to cover all of your doctors. I mean, it's going to be a situation here that is going to be untenable, and they are letting it happen because they are refusing to allow the subsidies to come back for people to enroll in the Affordable Care Act.
But
so where I'm going with that, ultimately, long way of saying, because I can get into the whole healthcare rant.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yes, you can.
Says the king of rants. All of this stuff is going to compile, and I do think that there is a pathway for either House Representative Jasmine Crockett or State Representative James Tallarico to win in November. We made Georgia happen, but everyone points to Georgia as like that just sort of happened. That was a massive grassroots effort over years to make to flip those 2 Senate seats blue, and hopefully we'll still see the results of that this June or November rather. That level of organizing, has that happened in Texas? I guess we're going to have to find out and see where that goes. But we have to take a break here. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. More after this very quick break.
Families, get ready for Dinosaur World Live, a thrilling interactive show at Children's Theater Company March 3rd through April 5th. This hit show is the perfect blend of science, storytelling, and spectacular live theater. These remarkably lifelike dinosaurs move, they roar, and yes, the mighty T-Rex towers before your eyes. This is edge-of-your-seat excitement, followed by the chance to meet a dinosaur up close. Dinosaur World Live opens March 3rd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Are you planning a gathering for your family, friends, or work? Then reserve space at the Park Tavern. The Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces, and they can accommodate any size party, large or small. They have bowling, food, and beverage packages for any budget. And remember, there are no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. And for more information or to schedule an event, call 952-929-6810 or go to parktavern.net. Make your next get-together the best get-together with help from the Park Tavern.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Welcome back to The Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. For our folks in Illinois, our listeners in Chicago, there's a big primary that's going to be coming up here on March 17th. That is going to be for the Democratic primary. So Senator Durbin obviously is retiring. It looks like U.S. Representative Raja Krishnamurthy is the one who's spending the most money in this race. He is facing off against U.S. Representative Robin Kelly and the current Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Both of whom tend to have a more progressive message there. It looks like Lieutenant Governor Stratton has also called to abolish ICE. So we will be watching that one to see what happens on March 17th, which is a Tuesday. It's 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. Illinois is also going to be seeing on that day a lot of House district primaries, Democratic primaries in the 2nd, 7th, 8th, 9th, 2nd, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and it'll be happening on the 17th. There isn't a 17th congressional district. Or is there? I'm blanking right now. Wow.
Illinois? I don't think
so. Yeah, there's going to be a lot to be watching out there. We're going to have Jake Wittig from Windy City Times. He has been keeping up with what is happening, obviously, in Chicago. So we're going to be checking in with him here over the next couple weeks to see what we should be paying attention to in Illinois on those races. Jim, you said that you had some recent polling.
There's a poll in Texas, Emerson College, which shows, in the Democratic primary, shows Tallarico with 52%, and Jasmine Crockett with 47%.
Really?
Which surprised me. But but to what you were saying, obviously that whole thing that happened, every time Trump dumps on something, it gets attention, and it's like he fertilizes it unintentionally. And so I think Tallarico benefited from that and whatever else is happening closer to the ground. But 5-point lead, 1% to a third candidate.
Wow. I don't know what is going to happen here tonight. This is wild. That may be why, if they had some internal polling, the Trump administration, why they were trying to put their finger on the on the scale here to try to see who is getting and who isn't getting coverage.
And in fact, in Illinois, there are 17 House districts.
I thought so. I was like, there is a 17th, but it was March
Just counted
17th.
them up.
The congressional district isn't okay. Yeah. There we go. Something else that we've been following here today has been the contempt hearing. So this is where the U.S. Attorney in Minnesota, the office, was brought in by U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Bryan. He was pissed off, I guess, is the light way of saying it, saying that the U.S. Attorney's Office has not done what he told them to do, which is ICE agents were apparently stealing from people they detained. So they were taking jewelry and all sorts of other personal property from them. And Judge Rosen was like, no, you need to give all of this back. They hadn't done it. So he hauled them in to his court this morning and said, hey, you need to comply with my orders. And he said, do I need to hold you in contempt of court?
Yes.
Now, he kicked it off today by saying this morning that he's like, I don't want to hold anybody in contempt.
Why?
But he's like, I'm hopeful we won't reach such a conclusion by the end of the hearing. Minnesota's U.S. Attorney is Daniel Rosen. And this has been something that has been happening actually here, where this has happened a couple other times actually in Minnesota, where the Trump administration says you have to do something, and the Trump administration just goes, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Yeah. And then they get hauled in before the court. There was a couple of situations, most famous one being the attorney for DHS who was like, this job sucks. And I hope you will hold me in contempt so I can go to jail and get a good night's sleep. Right. She has since been resigned, or not resigned. She's been reassigned from the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office since making that comment in court here. But as the day went on, we found out that there were some cases where today they were like, here's the stuff that was stolen from these detainees. And we are giving it back.
That's amazing. Pardon me. How would they ever know? Think about that. 2,800 agents. What did they do?
Yeah.
How did they get all this? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's like everything else DHS says. That I guarantee you is a lie. They got some stuff. They said, here, put it in a box. And
so Mackenzie Moy, who is an attorney representing the immigrants, said in court today that the federal agents are, quote, incredibly efficient, end quote, at detaining people, but then, quote, suddenly they are unable to comply, end quote, when it comes to releasing somebody or, giving them back their property. She told the court today, quote, this is a problem of their own making. Of course. And U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Bryan concurred. I don't know if that's the right word. I want to be, agreed, and said there has been repeated non-compliance with court orders by the federal government. And of course, the U.S. Attorney, Daniel Rosen, said he vigorously, quote, denies that claim.
You'll be in prison soon. We'll see you in prison soon.
Well, it is still going on. Actually, I'm checking in here on where we're at with that. The hearing is still happening. Just recently here in a recent update, U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Bryan is looking at a case where they didn't give back the individual's driver's license. Yeah. All right, folks. We left y'all speechless, right?
Yes.
That is all for us today. Up next on WCPT 820 is Democracy Now! Here in Minneapolis, it is the Matt McNeil Show. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio, and then at 10 p.m. Central, Step into the Unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.